Hello everyone, I want to do a brief discussion on patches and their future history and what might be changing and blah 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 for Splatoon 3. A few things I want to talk about. I'll try to keep it as concise as possible, but let's get started. So, obviously Splatoon 3 announced the end of its content cycle in September after the Grand Fest event, but they said that patches and Special Fest and stuff like that would still continue. 3 months later, we got patch 9.2, which was our first ever balance patch and indicated some things for the future, as well as right off the bat, confirmed we will get another patch, which is the only piece of guaranteed info we have, is we know there'll be another one. And that's it. I love communication from Nintendo. Anyway, I think a lot of people assumed right off the bat that, okay, it makes sense that they would slow down from 2 patches a season to 1 patch a season, or every 3 months. So, come the next season about to announce, both the Tuesday 2 weeks before and Tuesday 1 week before, which is usually when they drop their updates. The 2 weeks before was when they dropped it last time. I'm streaming, waiting to see if the patch drops, and they don't. And as of time of recording this, if a patch note does not drop today, Wednesday, then there will not be enough time for the game to be properly updated, since it takes 24 hours for it to be in the game, before Japan starts the next season, which would be the very first time a season does not have a balance patch in it. Very first times, never happened before in about 2.5 years. However, there was one indicator to suggest that this might be the case. And of course, we don't know right now as of time of recording. But when 9.2 was added, it importantly added the Frosty Fest gear, because that was obviously needed for Frosty Fest. There is another event coming up soon, which is Spring Fest, and is also going to have some gear not put in the game yet. I believe it's actually the last bit of gear to be added, unless if there's some more new original one for a future fest, like a summer once again. But that gear is actually already put in the game. They put it in the game at the same time they did the Frosty Fest gear, which means they technically don't have to update the game again for a bit, since they've allowed the seasons to continue as normal if they wanted to. Now, that doesn't mean there won't be an update, but it means they just don't have to do one. So maybe that could have been an indicator that they want to update the game even less frequently. And I'll get right out of the way that I don't really like the idea of updates being even less frequent. Even if it's just a balance patch and the game is in the best spot it's ever been in my opinion, I still think patches are very important for keeping the scene's interest. I know it'll get a lot of guaranteed eyes on it, and I think it personally sucks to really not have that. And it's also worth noting that we really do have reason to expect future content to continue, giving Splatoon 2 had multiple patches that happened afterward. Splatoon 2 had update 5.0 be the last one with major content. That was when they added Splatfest to PBs, something we haven't got here, you know, with the tricolor stages. But after that was patches 5.1 through 5.5. And around when Splatoon 2's ended, Splatoon 2's ended was about when Splatoon 3 was pretty far through development. So for those who don't know, patch 5.4 dropped just a little bit after the first trailer we got for Splatoon 3, and then the second one we got in September is when patch 5.5 dropped. From there, Splatoon 3, I'm mixing up all these different games. From there, Splatoon 3 was, pretty far into its reveal cycle. We started to get trailers more regularly and other news, and that's when we stopped seeing the updates. Obviously, we are quite far from that in Splatoon 4, and again, with them saying there'll be another patch, we're obviously not done yet. So, I want to talk about what future plans might be happening. Because if we go back to patch 9.2, there was an indicator about it. There's this note about Splattershot and Splattershot Pro's changes that I talked about a little bit before, but I'm going to bring up again, saying that Splattershot and Splattershot Pro were changed with the intent of expanding the range of situations these main weapons could handle. Additionally, these weapons have specifications that form the benchmark for other various weapons. By improving these, we also intend to make room for further improvement of specifications for weapons with similar distance specializations as these weapons in future balance changes. And then over here, of course, they say that the next update will focus on balance battles after long-term analysis, which is the same thing they said before 9.2. They dropped that same line before. So this indicates that the range buff of Splattershot and accuracy of Splattershot Pro were something that they want to do for similar weapons. Hopefully similar in range doesn't just mean, a bunch of other shooters, but, maybe something like Dually could get more range would make a lot of sense in this meta, for instance, since it's similar to Splattershot, or other mid-range weapons like, I'm going to use another Dually example, like Dually Squelcher getting an accuracy increase in Splattershot Pro did, or something like that. Point being, this note shows that there is indication for future plans for balancing the game. And I think it's been pretty clear for a while that Nintendo's probably pretty happy with the state of the game, given how little it's been changing, but it's worth, you know, showing right there that there is future plans for the game. And so we will get another one eventually. But as of right now, I think it's entirely possible that patches might not have a regular schedule or cycle anymore. And if we don't get, you know, the patch today, I would say that's a pretty safe assessment to make. Maybe if it wants to be paired with other news, it could be around when the Switch 2 Direct would release, if they want to try to do the same thing they did with Splatoon 3's updates, but I think that's a pretty far-fetched theory. For now, I think it's safe to say that, again, if nothing drops later tonight, which I guess maybe it could, that patches will be slowing down even further for this game than it already thought it was, and, I mean, it kind of sucks for sure. Right? I get it's like a small thing with balance patches, but it is really the only major help a lot of competitive players get in terms of being able to draw interest to the game. Keeps the game fresh and more interesting, and I really do hope that the plan is not to, you know, just drop support off this early, or at least like reduce it this early. I do hope we're able to get some more interesting updates, but as of right now, that's the best I can really do for a little brief analysis of this for the few people who really care about patches. I hope this explained what might be going on in the future, and I hope you all enjoyed. I'll leave this off with the end of this big Squid game.